And welcome to Real Talk, where every Sunday night we offer insight, education, and resources to in-home caregivers and those affected in their world. These are the children, the parents, the extended family, and everyone who loves them. And our goal is to offer real-life topics and learning through discussing real issues and offering real solutions. And tonight, I'm very excited because we have a little bit of a different type guest tonight, but a very important one. And we may have one or two more people jump on and join us. Sometimes life happens and there was a traffic delay. So we may have a couple more people join us. We'll see how it goes. But for the moment, our guests are Rachel Lubin and Cynthia Rivetto with the Nanny Relief Fund, and Shenandoah Davis is jumping in as well. Fantastic, perfect timing. You nailed it. Just as I'm introducing everybody, way to go. So the Nanny Relief Fund was launched in April 2020 when the COVID pandemic amplified the inequalities and the inequities in the world of domestic employees and the lack of protections and support that was really available to a lot of people in the nanny community. And so tonight we're going to talk about that. We're going to really dig into it and talk about where the Nanny Relief Fund came from and where it's going. So I would love it if whoever wants to jump in can share a little bit about the Nanny Relief Fund. Kind of give us an overview. Tell us how it started and how you got it formed.
Yeah. Rachel, do you want to get us kicked off and I can jump in?
Sure, yeah, of course. So yes, just as you introduced us, thank you so much for having us. Thank you for having us anyway, but thanks for that introduction. So yes, Nanny Relief Fund was started at the very end of March, beginning of April 2020, when I think all of us, but specifically I kind of saw like, oh my gosh, so many people are losing their jobs with no notice. You know, their nanny employers were losing their job, and then they, within a week, seemed to be losing their jobs too. And I was really concerned for our industry and just sort of like a human to human connection. I was like, what's going to happen to all these people? Like, we have no idea what the future holds. So I just started posting in some Facebook groups like, hey, my job is really secure. Does anyone need any financial help? And then like kind of snowballed a little bit, and people were like, yeah, I have an extra 50 bucks I could spare. Post your, your Venmo link and let's see if we can help each other. And then Austin and really Shenandoah and several other people sort of came in and were like, hey, let's make this bigger. Let's make this a real lasting thing in our industry. It's something that our industry has been needing for a long time, is some sort of like social safety net where we support each other. And so we decided to launch a nonprofit in the middle of the pandemic, not really knowing what we were getting into. And so we had a really successful launch in April and got a lot of really great grassroots support from the nanny community and raised quite a bit of money our very first launch weekend. And then within about 6 weeks, we were able to give the vast majority of that money away. Our first round of relief was about $40,000, which is pretty significant for our industry. And then later in the year, last year, around November, we did a second round of fundraising and were able to give out another approximately $40,000 right before the winter holidays. So we're sort of here planning our next steps and trying to figure out what the industry needs from us next.
Wow, that's a lot of money. I mean, I knew the first one was big, but I didn't know the second one was that big as well. Cynthia or Shenandoah, what would you have to add to that?
I would just add on a personal note that the timing of when the fund was launching was sort of perfect for me, because our agencies, went from like 30 something to 3 placements in about 24 hours. And I happened to be marooned in Germany during those 24 hours. And so it wasn't, it wasn't a thrilling time to own a business. And it was just in this moment of like confusion and grief and despair and powerlessness, that like being part of this organization has been so beneficial and helpful to sustain like my own mental and emotional health. In a time where so many big things are going on that feel so far outside of our control, that there is now like this one little pocket of our one small industry that is historically underrepresented and undervalued and undertaken care of, that, you know, the few of us and volunteers and people who have supported us so graciously, like you, Tanya, have kind of like, we have this one zone, we can do a little bit when we can, and it's not gonna fix everything in the world, but it is doing something.
I don't think I've heard that part of your story, Shenandoah, about how this helped you emotionally. That's really sweet. I don't think I've heard that before.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, well, I would like to add that personally also when the Nanny Relief Fund came out and I joined it, the board, one of the things that it motivated me to join them is that they really care about, you know, nannies. We don't care who is the nanny. Like, we're here to help them. Like, we don't care about where the nanny's from, who is the nanny. We just care about, you are a nanny, you're in need, and we want to do anything that is possible to help you. Even we are, you know, we're just getting small funds and we just try to help nannies because we know the need that is in our community.
Yeah, and I love that so much of the funding came from the nanny community itself. So many people that chipped in for that. So in the last year and a half since its inception, so you've had these two big kind of distributions of funds. You've made a big difference for a lot of people and really have given them that little lifeline to hang on to. Where are things going? What is the future of this fund and what are your plans for it?
Yeah, I can take it and then people can kind of jump in. So even recently we've seen, you know, the devastation of Hurricane Ida in Louisiana, and then all the way up the coast, it affected as far north as like New York City. And then simultaneously, you've had these horrible fires on the West Coast in California. And so I think we're kind of looking at what's going to happen now that a lot of nannies are back to work. I would say the vast majority of nannies that lost their job a year and a half ago are back to work now. Not that the financial need has lessened necessarily, but we're looking towards what else the community needs. And things like natural disasters and devastation, things like unexpected medical expenses that come up. And we're really hoping to expand the fund, which means bring in more money, enough that we can help people when things pop up, like a hurricane that's, you know, unexpected and devastating. So we would really love to be able to help with things like that in the future. Really unexpected expenses where, you know, $500, $1,000, $1,500 could go a long way, like you said, and just giving someone a lifeline.
Mm-hmm. All right. So related to that, a lot of things happen in our industry that have always been established or been around for a long time. And we have National Nanny Recognition Week coming up pretty soon. I know we've got big plans with our company for some really exciting things that we're offering during that week and doing. What are you guys doing? And for those people who might not know, will somebody kind of give us a little primer on what National Nanny Recognition Week is?
Chando, do you want to take it?
These are the hard-hitting questions, Tanya.
Right?
2020. National Nanny Recognition Week is a week for, you know, specifically employers of nannies, but also agencies and all of the other businesses that exist in the nanny sphere to take a moment and give some recognition and gratitude and praise to the, I believe at last count, 2 million nannies working in the United States, as well as all of the other nannies working abroad and internationally. And it's also a chance for the nanny community to kind of raise their hand and say, hello, I have a job just like everyone else, and my job is professional, and also my job is hard. And I effing rock at it, and I would like to get some respect for what I'm doing, and to support each other in that way. And to just say, you know, we have a really challenging and important job that changes the lives of a lot of young folks in the next generation to come up. So it's a really possibly the most important week in our industry, and one that I know everyone on this call has celebrated in different ways. And Rachel has been hard at work planning Spirit Week for the Nanny Relief Fund to help celebrate NNRW in our own way. Rachel, do you want to, without giving away any of the secrets,
no, sure.
a little bit of a Spirit Week tip off?
Yeah, so just going back just a quick second, Cynthia and I were actually able to speak with the two founders of National Nanny Recognition Week, which are Kelly Garris and Angelo Jackson. They've been working together for a while. I'd have to go to the website, nrw.org, I think, to sort of get the exact date when they started this. But it really, they're the founders of this and sort of the keepers of it. They keep it in their heart. And they really believe that nannies make a really positive difference in the world. And sometimes the media with nannies, the salacious stories, don't always represent so many of the amazing positive things that nannies do. And so one of their goals is to really kind of lighten the mood around the nanny universe and our industry. So they wanted to create this sort of happy, positive week where we celebrate each other. And yes, agencies can celebrate their nannies, and families can celebrate their nannies, and we can celebrate each other. And so their goal is to see, you know, great news stories and great media during this week. So there's some positive media in the news about nannies and our work and our industry. So I know that that's one of the really big goals about National Nanny Recognition Week. So we kind of got together and said, we want to have a bigger presence this year. Last year, you know, we did some Facebooking, but as a nonprofit in the industry, we want to have a bigger presence. And so we're going to do just something fun that we can all sort of get together and do online. And I think Austin had the idea of, remember, like in high school, we had Spirit Week and everyone had pajama day and pizza day. And it was really unifying for your school or for your group. So we're gonna do Spirit Week sort of in conjunction with National Nanny Recognition Week. And we'll have on our social media different challenges each day for 5 days, not for all 7 days, but for the 5 Monday through Friday days. And then if people complete all 5 challenges, then they can go into a drawing for some Nanny Relief Fund merch. We'll see how many people. If there's, you know, a few people that get it done, maybe everyone can get some Nanny Relief Fund merch. You know, some fun things that we have set aside that we would love to give away to just spread some cheer and some joy. And I think they're really fun. You know, there might be like a special day where you wear a certain color, or a special day where you do something with your nanny kids. So yeah, I think that's as much as I want to give away, maybe.
Now it sounds like it's going to be fun. So maybe Cynthia could tell us a little bit about how friends or other people in our lives can help celebrate nannies that week. Is that important to a nanny, Cynthia, to have other people acknowledge it?
Of course, yes. Of course, yes. It is important for a nanny to be recognized. For sure, yes, it is. Because, you know, the years I was a nanny, and I hear through other nannies when, you know, I talk with the parents and I said Happy National Nanny Recognition Week, they are like, oh, what is that? Or I didn't know about it. And, you know, when you just give a flower, they get so happy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very important. That's why it's very important to nannies to join us for the Spirit Week that Rachel is organizing, because they're gonna notice that, you know, social media will help to just show everybody about it. And also we'll educate employers that they don't know about that week exists. Yeah, nannies need to be recognized. We do a really hard work. It's important, you know, if you just tell another nanny, Happy National Nanny Recognition Week, your job is very important. You're doing good. You're doing great. It's very, very, it's not only lovely, but it's good. You feel good about it. And you know that you're doing a good job. Yeah, you can just tell your boss, maybe, oh, did you know that next week is a National Nanny Recognition Week? Or I may need to leave a little early next week because I'm going to an event in my community because we're celebrating something for nannies. There are different ways to let your employers know, right? Maybe you can wear a ribbon, a t-shirt during that week. Those are things that in our nanny community we do. But yeah, there are always creative ways that we do. In Nalani, for example, we're going to organize a little brunch for our nannies on the weekend in New York to celebrate them. Yeah.
No, that's great that you're doing that. And I love that you mentioned just the fact that something as simple as saying Happy National Nanny Recognition Week is so powerful. We forget sometimes how important those words are. We think there has to be some big gesture. Now, we all like big gestures. Those are great. But even those words, just to hear that is so incredibly important. So I love that you mentioned that as the very first thing out of the gate. And I love that there's events going on around the community. Related to that, if people say, hey, I want to know more about this, or I want to meet some of the people that are involved in this, or I want to say thank you, where can people reach you guys? Where can they find out about you guys? Are you going to be in places in person? Are you only online? Is there a website? Where can they find you?
Yeah. We can all kind of say where we're gonna be over the next few months. I will be at Nanny Palooza in October. That's the kind of one event that I know, and most likely the INA conference in the spring. And we also have, everyone else can kind of say where they're gonna be, but of course we have our website, nannyrelieffund.org, which will give you all of our background information. There's a page of who's donated, and there's a couple of just great resources on our website. Yeah, Sharon, where are you going to be this fall?
I'm going to be at the APNA conference in a couple of weeks. I'll be at INA in the spring. This year in the spring, we hosted our first ever walkathon, which happened a lot more virtually than we imagined it would while we were planning it. But there will hopefully be more walkathon events and more opportunities to do stuff in person next spring. But in the meantime, we all live at nannyrelieffund.org and on our Facebook page.
Shenandoah, I haven't asked you this even off camera, but do we think there might be another holiday sing-along?
Oh, we'll see.
We'll see. It was really fun. People loved it last year.
I'll let the winner of Spirit Week decide. The winner of Spirit Week can pick one song for the holiday sing-along.
Ooh, extra prizes.
Yes.
Very nice. I'll be at Nanny Palooza this fall, and hopefully I'll be at INA conference this spring too. And of course at the walkathon. Hopefully, because I couldn't make it the last time. I've been going around and around in the taxi cab. The last one, right? Shenandoah.
Those things unfortunately happen sometimes. We can't always control traffic. Can we, Shenandoah?
We sure can't.
All right. So if somebody's watching this and they're going, hey, I've never heard of this, or maybe they've heard of it, but they are now in a position where they can do something and they want to donate to the Nanny Relief Fund, how do they do that?
They can go to our website, which is once again, nannyrelieffund.org, and click on the donate button. It's a big orange button right at the top of the page. You can either do a one-time donation or you can set up to do a monthly donation. That's what I do because then I don't have to think about it. And it's just money that magically disappears every month, like Netflix and Hulu and Spotify and Amazon Prime and all the other places that money flies to that doesn't help nannies. That is the best way. We also have a volunteer application on the website that is a little bit dormant right now, but we are meeting as a board at the end of the year to see what will be possible for us to do in person next year. And we will definitely need a lot of hands on deck all over the country to help us pull off some more in-person activations in 2022.
Fantastic. And if somebody's watching this and they're going through something difficult, maybe they went through the hurricane that just came through, or had issues, or have a medical need, as Rachel mentioned in the beginning, how do they apply for relief?
Right now, sorry, I'm being a question hog, you too. Right now, we are not opening up another kind of massive round of grants, just because we don't have enough money in the bank to do so. We are still getting donations trickling in, but really when we see the most is around a big event. And summer is not a good time for any of us this summer in particular to be throwing a big event. But people can always email us. I will share that despite not having the round of grants officially open, a few emails and stories have come through where the board has gotten together and tried to make a couple of miracles happen for folks who are in dire need. So it never hurts to reach out.
Yeah, I love that you guys did that. And the reality is there's still an ongoing need in the nanny community, and there's an ongoing need for funds in order to help those people, to make those small miracles happen, because sometimes those small miracles end up being huge. So I love that you guys are still doing that. Before we wrap up for today, because we're almost out of time, is there anything else that any one of you or all three of you would like to share with our audience?
Yes.
Oh no, go Cynthia.
Sorry.
No, go.
Yes, I would like to just ask everybody just to please help us to help everybody. Like, even, $1, it's not a small, it's a lot for us. And if you can donate, just share our link with your friends. Like, there are so many ways to help. You can share our link to your friends, like those, you can use WhatsApp, share our link to all your content through WhatsApp, like send emails, send from Facebook, Instagram, use all your social media. You never know who's willing to help us. So please just share our links, talk to your employers, the friend of your friend, family members, anyone. Even $1, you don't have an idea how many people you can help, how many nannies you can help. Together we are stronger, and we need you right now. There is a lot of need in our community. The need was there all forever before COVID, and this is still there. There is still a lot of need. So we need you guys. Please help us to help everybody. And that's it.
That was perfect, Cynthia. I always love to hear you talk. You're always so passionate from the heart.
I'm sorry, I get very emotional.
No, I know. It's so I love it.
Yeah, I'm pretty quiet, guys. But when I start getting a little, I get very emotional.
Yeah, and you know what? You said it perfectly.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Shenandoah or Rachel, any last words for us?
I just want to say thank you to anyone who's already donated. Sometimes, anyone who's been involved with any nonprofit, probably any business, sometimes it feels like it's just creeping along. But then we do say things like, we gave away $80,000 last year. And it does sort of remind you that amazing things are possible, and that little bits of money from lots of people can make a huge difference in the lives of others who really need it. And as we've said many times before, many people who were able to receive a grant the first time, we're able to turn around and donate to that fund the second time, which is really inspiring to us because people know how much of a difference, you know, a few dollars makes when you're talking about a greater need for our shared community.
I just want to shout out the NCS community because they showed up in such a huge way during our opening weekend and started like challenging each other, having contests or bets going on, which really, you know, I know that there's a lot of synergy and a few people who sort of are in both the nanny and the NCS community, but it really meant a lot to us to see how the NCS community showed up for the Nanny Relief Fund. And I know a lot of those folks will be watching this, so thank you from us.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, the NCS community is fantastic, just like the nanny community is. And I think a lot of it is it touches them because so many of them started in the nanny community. Just like me, that's where I started too. So I absolutely get it. So thank you so much to all three of you for joining us tonight on Real Talk and sharing about the Nanny Relief Fund. I think a lot of people don't necessarily know that much about it, and anything we can do to help provide a broader exposure to that ultimately will help with the nannies getting the money that they need when they're really in a bad situation. So if you who are watching this have any questions around this topic or anything related to the Nanny Relief Fund, or you want to get in touch and donate, we're going to post the information in the feed, but you can also put your questions there and tag us, and we'll make sure that you get answers. If you're watching this or want to rewatch this or any of our other Real Talk episodes, pop on over to newborncaresolutions.com, click on the education tab, and you can find all the content. We also have everything from all of our Real Talks up on our YouTube channel. You simply search Newborn Care Solutions Real Talk so you can catch all this information there. Thank you very much and have a great night. Bye, everybody.